Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hold for Media podcast. Still waiting on a new title for that one, but we're kind of rolling with it so far. As always, I'm Aaron, and on my right is Chloe Claire. I thought we would start this podcast a bit differently and kind of, I don't know, maybe introduce a recurring segment, kind of a bit of an icebreaker so we can get warmed up about either a film, TV show, book, or piece of media that we read or watched between our last podcast and this one. And yeah, I just really wanted to talk about the movie, so that's why I did it. But my one is Frankenstein, the movie Guillermo del Toro, on Netflix. I watched that a few nights ago with my girlfriend Alicia. I was really surprised because I saw a lot of comparisons. Have you seen Nosferatu?
No, actually, I haven't.
No, definitely worth the watch, but I saw a lot of comparisons between the two films and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought Jacob Elordi was like great.
I've heard that
Yeah, he's really
isn't it?
good. And I think initially as well, when I saw the makeup for it, I thought it was very like it still looked like a human. Like he wasn't depersonalized enough, but I understand there's a reason for it in the story. And he took a unique approach with the story. I don't know if you've watched the original Frankenstein, but this focused more on the humanity of it and makes him like, it's actually quite emotional, which I wasn't expecting because normally a Del Toro movie is kind of more like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
In some respect, I'm always distant from the events that are happening. Like there's a disconnect, but it was actually weirdly his most real film, which is funny because I saw Shape of Water and I was kind of okay with it, but I think this is much, much better. I definitely recommend you watch it. And then watch Nosferatu as well, which is different in almost
That's been
completely
on my
different
list
way.
for so long now.
I have it on Blu-ray if you
Oh,
if you
really?
wanna, yeah, if you want to watch it, if you have a Blu-ray player. But I just kind of wanted to highlight that as a recommendation. Frankenstein, watch it. It's on Netflix. Really good movie. But I've heard the streets have it that there's a bit of you're having a bit of a how do I say huff about this new season of Stranger Things.
Yeah. So for anyone who is a big Stranger Things fan, I was incredibly excited about this season. The volume 1 I quite enjoyed, and then it really just tapered off from there. And the season finale was incredibly disappointing. There were obviously good parts. I don't want to take away and be like, oh my God, this whole entire thing was shit. It wasn't. But the potential and just like falling down the rabbit hole of all these people coming up with theories and there was like the whole conformity gate and just like brilliant genius things, and none of it came to fruition.
Yeah.
And it probably should have.
To provide some context on where I am in this, like, feel free, we're probably going to go into spoilers, so feel free to skip ahead to a determined time code. But I watched the first season. I thought the first season was amazing. I thought it was really good. What was particularly charming was the dynamic of the kid characters. I watched the second one and I was like, fine. It seemed like the first season was written to be almost a mini series where it was resolved at the end. The second one even more so. I felt like, just from memory, the second one ended quite resolved. And then I watched like the first episode of the third season, and then I think that was when it was most noticeable, the difference in the appearance of the actors between season 2 and 3, and also the dynamic. Like I mentioned just before, it feels like between 2 and 3, maybe egos were introduced. Like the stars were rising on people, mostly Millie Bobby Brown. So it seemed like what was so charming, the dynamic between her and Mike in the first season, maybe also the second season as well, was kind of gone because it seemed like she was a different person or more.
I mean, it's always going to be a issue when you have child actors and they're growing up in the space. And obviously, you know, kids change very rapidly and they might be decent child actors. They may not necessarily grow up to be decent adult actors, and that really kind of shines through in some of the performances, especially in season 5. I mean, all of them had really great moments. Don't get me wrong.
Who's the worst? Is it Noah?
It's Noah.
That's what I heard on this.
But
I think
I think that when he has to really touch in with like deep emotions, he's good. I wouldn't say he's brilliant, but he's good. But when he just has to act kind of normal, yeah, it's really awkward.
Yeah.
And like you can see he kind of struggles with it. I mean, you could take it as his character's just a little bit awkward anyway.
Yeah. Which was set up from season 1, from
yeah,
what I remember.
100%.
He was always...
But it wasn't necessarily like coming off as like just like that awkward, closeted teenager. It was just more like not sure how to act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him particularly in season 2 because I think they play... Like, people are... You know how people are. Whenever there's a scene of emotional about a queer character like that, there's always some hoorah about it. But it's been set up from the beginning.
It has, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how it necessarily plays in that, but that's been most of the talking points. It's been just littered on my feed. I just
about
can't
him
get rid
coming
of it.
out.
About that scene, it's been memed a lot. It's been
I think the scene was good. My only issue is like this is in the 80s. And
Maya Hawke's character already came out in season 2 because I watched that.
Was it? No, it's 3. Because I don't.
Well, then maybe I watched season 3 as well because I remember her being a character. The ice cream shop Steve.
Yeah, she.
That's season 3.
That's season.
So I watched all of season 3.
Yes.
I watched the beginning of season 4, and that's when I was like too far.
Yeah.
Continue.
So to come out to everyone and I don't know, I guess the dynamic is very different. Like these people have nearly died with each other and for him to just not like girls, it's not a big deal given the circumstance of everything else going on.
So contextually maybe it was a bit like, why are we talking about this? Because that's kind of what it seemed like. Like it seems like from what I've heard is most of this episodes are exposition, are characters just talking.
Yeah, volume 2, specifically, it's just a whole lot of fucking talking, and that's about it. Nothing like grand happens, and then people have been saying like the runtime for the scene of Will coming out is the same as the fight scene in the finale, which is just bizarre. And then I remember like after the fight scene, spoiler, 11 dies, and then like paused it and I was like, why the hell is there 55 fucking minutes left?
It's like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
And then I was like, oh my God, something amazing is going to happen. No, it was just an epilogue and it just wrapping up the characters, but you didn't have to do that. Some of it was like the very, very last scene, was a really nice way to wrap up the whole series for sure. Like it's back to them playing Dungeons and Dragons. But everything else, I was like, bro, like you could have spent this 50 minutes doing something a lot better. But
yeah, I don't want to harp on this too much.
Yeah,
but you also mentioned something. Sorry, just not to go off it. The documentary they released about it as well.
I haven't watched the documentary yet. Planning to this weekend, so I can let you know next podcast how I feel about it. From what I've seen, people that were not impressed with the finale are even more pissed off about it now too because of the documentary. A lot of people are actually saying that it might be Netflix releasing it as damage control and pressing all the blame onto the duffers because it does not paint them in the best of lights, going into the season without finishing a script and not knowing how it's actually going to end.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Imagine having the opportunity to work with all
Yeah,
those
imagine
actors,
having all that
much
money, all that time,
Yeah.
and you don't even know how it's going to end. That's, bizarre to me. And then, like, they even had a scene where one of the writers was like, why are there, like, no Demogorgons or Demobats in, like, this abyss in the final fight? Like, it'd be crazy if there wasn't. And Matt Duff is like,
Wait, so there's not?
No.
What's the point of,
It was
like,
just
who are they fighting anymore? I haven't seen season, like, maybe I should watch it
the
all.
Mind Flayer and Vecna. But it was a very easy fight, and it shouldn't have been. So, anyway, I don't want to harp on that for too long because I'll get really...
We'll change the title of this podcast if we harp on that too wrong. You would say the season was a bit unusual, like it was possessed, like it was... No, how do I do this? Witchcraft. Oh. Might have something there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So this week's topic, it's actually already something I have previously made a short documentary on. Something that I've been super passionate about for years, but obviously just don't have the resources and whatnot. I don't think you can actually go watch the short anywhere.
I swear I saw it on Vimeo. I'm talking 2021 or 2020 when we met.
Yeah, so this is quite old. I don't even remember what year we shot it. It might have been 2019 or 2020.
It was 20, because it was a year before we met.
Yeah,
so we met
I think
in
it was after
2021.
COVID. I like to like remember things from COVID. But it was for a uni project. Now, I came up with this idea to not be a university like project, but you know, back then, very minimal resources. I did a documentary unit and had the opportunity to make it, so made it. It was a very interesting thing. So I decided to make it on witches and pagans in Western Australia specifically. I don't know if I want to say the title because I don't want people taking it.
Yeah, we can just say that we have a proof of concept. It exists. It's not out there.
No.
We're going to take what Chloe did and learn from it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't want it to skew anyone's opinion on what the final product would be.
Yeah. Because this was
which
6
is
years
not,
ago.
which, by the way, is not to say it's bad. It's actually really, really good. And like a consensus number one pick in that class's batch of documentaries. Like everyone I talked to said it was amazing. There's more to those stories, and there's a lot of stuff that happened along the way. But to interject, continue.
So maybe I'll go over a bit of like the pre-production in it. So Jack, who was on our podcast last week, it was mainly him and I sort of running the show. We actually met up with people that are witches and pagans, or identify as witches and pagans. It's actually insane how big the community is in Western Australia alone. I managed to get myself on a Facebook page. I posted something in there about wanting to make a documentary, and I actually got a lot of replies and people interested and commenting and sending people my way and whatnot. So met up with, I can't remember, it's so long ago, quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
Some of them, it was some of the weirdest interactions I've ever had in my life. One of them, I don't even know if I want to talk about it because it was just insanely...
Well, now you kind of have to. You brought it up.
I don't want them to see it. No, they're never going to see it.
Like, you don't have to use names.
No,
Also,
no.
there's something, sorry, just to interject. It's interesting. So you just messaged a Facebook group. That's your interest.
Yeah.
For the gang stalking idea, very, very similar. You could probably just do the same thing and maybe see. Well, It's a very different
But I think it's a very different community to
very different community.
try and get into.
I distrust people from the outside asking a lot of questions. Hey, I'm from the outside. Can I ask a lot of questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. But that's super fascinating that you got a lot of responses. What did this guy do?
So he was a very intense man, and he was just kind of talking to us about, all of his experiences and what he does, and then he got into this very long-winded story about how a vampire was attached to him, and went into detail. He saw a mermaid in a bathtub. Obviously, that all sounds a little bit comical, but being in that moment with that guy, how he spoke, his just energy in general, it was just bizarre. I remember when he got up and left because we were at a cafe, and Jack and I just sat in silence for like 5 minutes, just trying to process what we just heard.
It didn't seem performative at all, very genuine?
No. And no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
I understand that there's potentially stuff you wouldn't want to say for ethical reasons, for privacy reasons.
Yeah. And obviously because I still want to make this documentary.
You don't want to,
I don't want to step on my own toes here, I guess.
You don't want to seem like you're also making fun of them.
No, and I'm not. I'm genuinely not. I think that when it comes to any sort of witchcraft, spirituality, people that practice this in their everyday life, it is incredibly fascinating. And it's just like another religion, I suppose, when you really think about it. And some of the people we met as well, they're not... I remember in the class, sorry, ADHD, I'm getting sidetracked. I remember in the class, and my teacher, Dick, by the way.
Just quietly.
Just quietly.
Yeah.
Just always had it out for this idea. Just really did not like it from the get-go. But sorry, got voted for one of the best ones, so fuck you.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, are you going to get people making stuff levitate? And I was like, what? And then he was like, well, we need to see some actual magic. And I was like, okay, sure, let me make that happen. What are you talking about? Because, and my whole thing around it as well was I wanted to educate people on what this means to people in this community, what it means to people who are Wiccan, who still practice paganism. It's their culture, it's their religion, it's their lifestyle. And I just wanted to educate people more on it, because obviously when you think of a witch, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Broomstick, hat, big nose, melting when
it's a very stereotypical things. And obviously this is where it came in. It's well, they have to perform magic.
It's like saying, I'm going to do a documentary on the Christian faith. Well, someone better literally rise from the dead.
Yeah.
Someone better walk on water and convert wine to blood.
Yeah. It's not going to happen.
That's so stupid.
It's not going to happen. So yeah, anyway, don't know where I was going with that story, but it just triggered me.
It just has an aside.
But yeah, I guess that goes into why I wanted to make it, is purely around the education of it and breaking stereotypes. And it is just a really interesting, fascinating subject. We filmed majorly around this one particular witch. Beautiful woman, incredibly kind. I won't go too much into it. There's a little bit of other stories to it. But
which we'll get later.
We'll get to later. But she invited us to her house. We filmed her for an entire day. Jack and I even stayed behind. She gave us a tarot reading, stuff like that. Very welcoming, super involved and whatnot. She got us invited to a Viking wedding, which was incredible.
Is that witchery adjacent? Is that something separate?
Like paganism.
What is paganism?
Paganism dates to before Christianity. It really focuses on like nature, and like spirits and deities and whatnot. So like very like think back to like Viking ages and like
pre-monotheism, basically.
Yeah, and then paganism does kind of differ from witchcraft, but it's sort of like the blanket or the umbrella over like things like being a Wiccan and whatnot. So yeah, so that's kind of what paganism is. Just very centered around like nature.
So that would be this Viking group that you were afforded to. So is there any overlap in terms of any cultural proceedings? Obviously they know each other, or this witch did. Is there any overlap in terms of ritual or anything like that, or do they mostly just...
Well, it's still very ritualistic. I mean, typically they do like a blood ritual where they actually use their own blood. They didn't do that in this instance. They used pig's blood.
For the wedding, that is?
The wedding, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then did some kind of like Viking games. There was one, which was very interesting, where all the men had to tie a wooden block to a string around their bowls and sprint up and down.
Did you get good footage?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. And then they had like a whole feast and really beautiful day. Really like nice, amazing, interesting people. So yeah, it was like honestly an absolute honor to be able to like go and be a part of it and whatnot. Because obviously it's a special day for the bride and groom, but also it's such a cultural thing, and for none of us to be a part of that culture and be allowed in it, it was really nice.
Yeah, in terms of a uni project as well, it kind of supersedes comparable projects that took place in the same unit. Like documentaries, at least when I did them, would be like, oh yeah, I know someone who owns a business, and they're like, there's this guy who's like really down on his luck, or I know this rapper who's like in the underground and he's hustling really hard, and then you're just like, yeah, I got invited to take part of this cultural event that's like in like a very secluded part of society for good reason. I think we've kind of touched on the reason being, but like because they don't want to be like humorized, they don't want to be made fun of.
No,
but it's just still miraculous to me that you got access to this.
It's also like for a lot of these people as well, it's still a very taboo thing. We also were invited to this man's house. He has the biggest pagan library in Western Australia, in his backyard. Poor Jack is a Christian, and we walked in and there's like a pentagram on the floor and stuff, and but again, he was super lovely.
The ever professional Jack probably got through it, I'm sure.
But his wife was in a government role, so was very, very serious about not being ever on camera. Couldn't speak her name, couldn't anything like that, because she was so worried about the repercussions she would have if her work found out that she was involved.
There has to be some sort of like freedom of religion law about it. Obviously, you can't legalize stigmas, like, or people's opinions. But like, I'm sure there would be a law protecting her in that instance, because like you said, it is a religion.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a really interesting, how many times am I going to say interesting? It was really eye-opening, a lot of fun, met some really amazing people, and just were like, was introduced into like a new way of thinking as well. But obviously it was a uni project.
Which kind of brings me to part of the reason why we wouldn't want to show this is because it was a uni project. Jack did an amazing job shooting it. You did an amazing job directing it. I have seen it. It's hard to shake those student filmisms. And I feel like it's very common to have like the right idea at the wrong time. Do you want to maybe describe a bit about the production? Because you've talked about the pre-production briefly, the production side of it, and maybe also the post-production and what went wrong and what you would change.
So in production, there was a bit of a mishap. Fuck it, I'm just going to say it. Our producer was meant to secure a date with the lady that we were working with. I was told that that date was secured. Now, mind you, this is all the way in Pinjarra. It's not like 20 minutes down the road. Got up at 6 a.m. to be there early enough to start shooting. That lady had no idea we were coming that day. So that then pushed back our production. Finally agreed on a date. That was fine. I agreed on it this time, made sure it was actually happening, and then did all the filming, but obviously it pushed us right back. So when we got into post-production, it was very rushed. The edit was very rushed. I didn't like the way it was edited. Nothing to the editor. She did a great job in the time frame that we were allowed. But it was something that I was willing to just put on the bench for a little while until we could get more footage. We could get someone in who really was passionate about it and really wanted to edit it as well, obviously like sound and whatnot. So that was the plan. Unfortunately, due to whatever reason, so on university servers, they scrap everything after, 6 months?
Yeah, because they only have a certain amount of space.
Which is fair enough.
And they don't want people who have graduated taking up a lot of space, like a lot of these projects, a lot of assets. And stuff.
Which everyone is very, very fully aware of, mind you. It's pretty much as soon as the semester finishes, everything gets wiped. So I personally was going to go in and grab all the footage myself. I was told by my producer at the time that she was already at uni, already had a hard drive on her. She'll get it all on there. So I didn't have to come in. I think it was like maybe 6 months down the track. Mind you, I had asked for this hard drive a few times in the interim. Always a reason why I couldn't get it. We reached out again because I wanted to pick it up again, start working on it again when we had a little bit more free time. Turns out she never put any of that footage on a hard drive. And so it got wiped from the server. So that was a big lesson in itself.
Producers have zero technical skill. As a producer, I will say that. That's chilling to hear.
And it's been like, it was like honestly a very big kick to the gut because it was something I was so passionate about. And it was just kind of devastating, like all of that footage. I mean, the interviews we can do again. Meeting new people, getting all that footage we can do again. I don't think we're ever going to get invited back to a Viking wedding though.
Yeah, and was there something about the couple as well requesting footage?
So, we agreed that if we were to come to this wedding that we would make a video for them, which we did. made a really beautiful video for them, sent it to them and whatnot. It would have been probably 6 months later, and which is why this all kind of came up, that they claim they never got one. Mind you, we had sent one, and Jack sent it, I think it was on his drive or whatever. They never downloaded it, or never did anything with it. And then so we're claiming we never made them one. So we're like, it's fine. We totally understand. We'll make you another one. We couldn't then go make them another one because we didn't have any footage. So we just had to cut around what was already in the documentary. That was done. But
yeah, which is so, again, chilling.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you were allowed access to this community that clearly made plans around you guys performing a certain service. In addition, and like as an exchange of service, they would let you in and kind of give you interviews and stuff like that. So for that to go wrong is just such a calamity of errors. It's almost comical.
Yeah, and I think it does really highlight, you know, being in that amateur time of filmmaking. Like you've got to learn a lot of lessons, and this one was a tough one.
One way to learn.
Bloody tough one. But yeah, and it's just upsetting because we did get really good footage. Jack shot it beautifully. Some really good points in it, but yeah. You learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think this is to rag on anyone in particular. I think it's like a joint learning experience, because even from that, because I remember we became closer through 2021, 2022. And when you told me that story, it happened like a couple of years prior. And I had a similar reaction to how I'm having now. But that story always plays in my mind when I'm editing. Like I'm always like, I need to make sure I have backups. I need to make sure that there's like a fail-safe. Yeah, like, and even when I deal with Lucy, another editor that I work with, like, kind of, she has a similar mindset. And like, I think all of it stems from a story. I'm sure she has a story of something similar happening. Maybe not something as dramatic, but I think that is like the biggest growth you can have as a filmmaker, is having something like that just go terribly wrong.
I also think as well, like, if you're so passionate about something, don't put your trust into other people to have that same passion either.
Yeah.
And just do it yourself.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. Which, like, hopefully we've reached a point in our filmmaking careers where obviously you can do a lot yourself, and but like we're kind of at the point where doing everything yourself it's kind of flipped. Whereas like back then, you should do it yourself because you're the passionate one. You maybe have more technical know-how than your classmates. You do it yourself. But now we're at the point where you could almost be a detriment if you do everything. Like, so, but like with those core lessons in mind, what would you do now approaching it as like a brand new project if it was greenlit today? Because it's very interesting, this story, because there's a potential destruction of access with this. Like there was enough lack of professionalism and you looking like you didn't know what you were doing to kind of maybe give them pause when you ask next time, if you were to ask next time. So like, what, from that perspective, and then also just production and how you would kind of craft the story going forward, because going off the short film, which again I've seen, it's a pretty tight structure. Like I don't think, like obviously there would probably be more to explore, but in terms of like a feature length, I'd be curious to know how that would be created, or is it even a feature? Maybe it's just like an hour, 45-minute thing.
So the original idea, actually, which is still the idea now, this was just adapted for the university level that we were at the time. it's at a much larger scale. Obviously, I was just in this short focusing on that community and culture in Western Australia specifically, whereas this could be taken to a much larger scale. Obviously, all different countries, some actually do quite openly practice witchcraft and whatnot. It's a lot more embedded into other societies, a lot more accepted, and then there's other societies where it's still incredibly taboo and scary and whatnot. And I really wanted to explore it which is so insane, but explore it at a global level, and kind of get the ideas from different societies and communities and whatnot. There's also so much history behind it. And so there's a lot of different avenues you can take where obviously back in medieval times and whatnot, there was like all the witch trials, well, not even just in medieval times, it's been going on for many, many, many years. But a lot of it was driven by fear, which is still like prevalent in society now, is that a lot of things are driven by fear. And when you think about, and I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but you think about like the witch trials and whatnot. Now think of cancel culture nowadays. Kind of the same thing. Because you don't
blur your eyes.
Yeah. But like we kind of like adapted it into a different way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
When people don't
where it's one group.
I mean, some people definitely deserve to be cancelled. But but with like certain things, when people just don't understand something, and it creates that fear and that creates that misinformation. A lot of our ideas come from like misinformation, I suppose. Yeah, like you can kind of tie it back into like society now as well, like how people acted back then versus how people act now.
Yeah.
And then
because which maybe in a theocratic world where with monarchs where religion was embedded into the rule of the country, witchery or witchcraft pose more of a overt threat from an ideological standpoint. Like if you have, it's almost like punk music, and that sounds like a weird comparison, but it's like a counterculture almost in those days.
Yeah.
And I feel like that opinion of it also, I think media doesn't help. Like the fact that I thought of a witch and I was just thinking of like a spell casting, bubble, toil and trouble, like 3 witches in a circle hexing someone. Like I think that's something to do with it as well. Maybe they just need a rebrand. They need a good marketing manager.
Yeah. I mean, I know I just went on a whole tangent about like the history. The history would be in this documentary, a very minimal part to it. It would be very focused on the modern day and how it is in every society. And it would be solely focusing on breaking stereotypes and educating people more. Which you could do in probably an hour documentary and just still keep it in Western Australia or Australia. But I think it would just be incredibly interesting to see all the different cultures and whatnot, and just get a better understanding of it as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's very scalable. And I think to a proper interested party, let's not completely rag on it. The short that you did do is decent and can act as like a good proof of concept if you were to interact with a funding body or something to kind of show that it has like merit.
Yeah.
But aside from funding and like, would much of your actual technical approach change, like the way in which you shot it? Like, was there anything specific that you needed to do maybe differently from another project because of the circumstances, or was it all pretty just conventional?
It's quite conventional.
Yeah. But at this stage, you'd probably be able to trust Sam with the drive or something.
You'd hope so.
Yeah. I don't, but someone would.
Someone would.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe the approach to like the way we shoot it might change. Obviously, I've grown as a filmmaker in the last 6 years. Grown as like a director, my viewpoints and my style and whatnot has evolved. So obviously there would be like differences, like, and I think it would actually be. Have you seen Dark Tourist?
No, is that a doco?
Yeah, it's doco series. Brilliant, by the way. Sorry, my mother's calling me.
Not to now, mother.
Not now. Fuck, now I lost my. Hang on, I'm just gonna. Can we pause for a second?
Hi.
Hi, I'm doing a podcast. It's urgent. Mate. She goes, you weren't replying to my messages, and I want to figure out what you want to do Saturday. Go away.
Yes. So, before your mother rudely interrupted us, we were saying about how you've grown as a filmmaker.
Yeah, Dark Tourist. Are we recording?
We haven't stopped.
Oh, we haven't stopped.
Yeah.
Just in a conversation with my mum. By the way, she wanted to know if I can pick my dogs up on Saturday night. So, yeah, Dark Tourist, that's where we were bloody at. I can't remember his name now. I'm so bad with names. But he goes to like all these different places across the world that are very like dark in nature and whatnot. Like went to one of those like torture houses and like think along those sort of lines.
Yeah, like Salem, or like I don't know. I'm just thinking of haunted places.
But it could
like,
be
yeah.
a very entertaining thing if it doesn't have to necessarily be me, but someone is getting involved, like actually partaking in these rituals or, you know, actually sitting there talking to someone, not just having like the interviews and then the B-roll and then all of that sort of stuff. Like I think it would be more entertaining to have someone actually being educated in real time about everything and partaking and
Yeah. No, I think it could almost be, now I mean this actually with all sincerity, have you seen those like Finding Bigfoot TV shows where the concept, like, don't ask me how I found them, but I just like watch clips from time to time. A lot of the concept of them is just going to different areas and exploring myths surrounding the Bigfoot idea in those areas. Like it could be something serialized like that, or where maybe it's not exploring, like it would probably as a byproduct destigmatize things and maybe clear the air a bit, but it could just be exploring that geographical location without having like some overarching narrative. It could just be borderline travel show where you're like, where you're doing
much.
like on obviously this is another extreme where it's like more digestible, palatable version of it, but like that's something that could be done as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that'd be really fun to
a lot of
to
different
shoot and make.
avenues that you could take with it. But yeah.
Something that I would just say, because we're kind of wrapping things up, if it should be done. In terms of the gang stalking idea, which I keep bringing up, there's, at least in my mind, some risk that the way in which we portray the idea of gang stalking could promote it. Weirdly, and I want to know if you agree, I think that risk is almost eliminated with this idea. I don't know why, though. Like, is it just because witchcraft is far-fetched in my mind and I'm being closed-minded? Or is there just the religious aspect and, like, that kind of makes it less convertible or infectious, if that makes sense? But you know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're trying to say,
I feel like any potential risks of creating a rise in deviance or like sacrificing sheep
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
I think that's not a concern with this.
No.
Weirdly.
I think as well, like they call it like the New Age witch or whatnot. And I think that is actually quite prevalent in society now, and people like openly come out and say they're a witch and whatnot. So I think that doing this documentary, one, it would educate people that not everyone's out there sacrificing rabbits in their lounge room and, you know, putting hexes on their enemies and, you know, and that's not, I'm sure it probably happens, but it's not the entirety of like the religion and the culture and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think there's any risk in that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to start, well, I really bloody hope it doesn't start like a witch hunt or anything.
No, yeah. I think that might be the only real concern is potential personal ramifications for the people that volunteer doing it. Like that woman you said who had a government job.
And
But, like, I think we have laws and, well, as society, we should not be doing that stuff. We should have duties to protect people regardless of their ideology.
Yeah.
So, similar to like your gang stalking thing, do you think you bear no responsibility for that? Or it would just have to, like, would it just be addressed in kind of the pre-production aspect, the capacity to which they want to be revealed and what they want to show?
Yeah.
And just making sure you don't cross any boundaries.
Yeah, I think boundaries are a big thing. I think that the people that would want to be involved are probably already either very outwardly open about their religion and spirituality and whatnot. So I think with that, it would be okay. It's very different from the gang stalking, like people that do believe that it is happening to them. It's a very serious thing, not to say that witches and pagans and whatnot aren't
people
serious.
Would commit mass shootings or like attack people or stuff as a result of them.
I don't think that would happen here. Obviously, like, you know, I'm not going to disclose where people live or anything like definitely. That.
But that's just not tied specifically to this idea. That's just documentary risk because you wouldn't want to reveal too much about any subject regardless of what you're talking about.
Exactly. So I don't think that there's any major risks involved with this one.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap things up? Or?
No, not really. Do you have anything?
No, I just have a question. It might be a bit of a cheeky one, but this is the first time in which one of us has done two ideas. If you were to like say which one currently interests you more, like what would you say? Just as like a throwaway comment.
Do you want me to say?
Yeah, you can say. We can cut around it if you don't want to reveal it. But I think maybe keeping like a mental running tally of like the ideas and what we think, not to necessarily influence what they think, but mostly like whenever I eat a meal, I have all the independent elements and I rank them from 1 to 10 and order them from what I liked the most to the least every meal in my head. And then I tell Alicia about it and annoy her.
Of course you do.
So that's just how my brain works. I think it would be cool if we had like a scoreboard and like where we're currently thinking. I think it would change based on the mood. Like,
yeah, I think I'm very mood based.
Yeah.
I think that probably because this has been on my radar for like 6 years now, this would be my favorite. In terms of the most interesting and the most kind of scandalous, it'd be the gang stalking. The thing I could probably learn the most from is from your topic. Because clearly I don't know.
Yeah, the tax one. I don't know if people will agree, but it definitely. Yeah.
But if I had to have one that if you gave me the budget.
Just focusing solely on yours, I think it's good to be inward looking in this, like your ideas.
Yeah, I think if you gave me a budget and resources
Angel
tomorrow,
donor.
I would make this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely been a long winding road with this one. So it'd be nice to see something some release or catharsis with it, because it feels like this idea has just been like
in the back of my mind for
Yeah.
like years and years. Yeah.
not quite scratching that itch.
Yeah.
But I hope something happens with it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have something to do with that. But thank you so much for watching this episode. What do I say at the end about social media?
Yeah.
We have social media. Follow us there. We're going to try to be pumping out more content, in like short form content, maybe more YouTube videos that aren't classified as podcasts, more Instagram content, a TikTok account, and stuff like that. All of that will be linked below, but primarily focus on following our Instagram, because that's where we're probably most active at this stage, which is just at
Holdful Media.
Yes. But again, thank you, and bye.
Bye. See you next time.
Yeah, see ya.